So recently, Trump had an interview with, I believe, Fox News, in which they asked him if he saw JD Vance as a successor of his. And this just kind of feeds into a lot of what has been going on with JD Vance when it comes to like the Trump administration and the team, and what a lot of people have been joking about regularly, which is that JD Vance is obviously just he's obviously not taken seriously by Trump, which is like good because it's JD Vance, first of all. But second, it's just like kind of sad that this man is just kind of getting cucked by everyone else. Like, I highly like ever since like there have been more people like announced to be like partnered with Trump while the election was going on, people just moved JD Vance out of the way and was like, oh yeah, this is his like true vice president. Like at first I remember people being like, oh, RFK Jr. Like when he dropped out of the race, they were just like, "Oh yeah, these two, Trump and RFK, they're teaming up. They're the special team. They're the mega powers or whatever. They're the dream team." And it was like, "Move along, JD Vance." And like same with Elon. Like Elon Musk is essentially the vice president. If we're gonna be honest, JD Vance does nothing. He's just there. Elon Musk is definitely the top guy. He's the number two guy for Trump right now, and that couldn't be any more obvious, especially with what Trump said here. Now, this is a CNN report on what Trump said, so we're just going to watch a bit of this.
President Trump refusing to say, this was pretty stunning, refused to say that his vice president is his successor. I mean, this is the person where if Trump falls down dead would be the president in that moment, right? But he is refusing to say that JD Vance would be his successor or that he would endorse him in 2028.
Do you view Vice President JD Vance as your successor, the Republican nominee in 2028?
No, but he's very capable. I mean, I don't think that I think you have a lot of very capable people. So far, I think he's doing a fantastic job. It's too early. We're just starting.
Except for, again, if something happened to him, JD Vance would be the president because he's the vice president of the United States.
Trump, let's be honest with ourselves, Trump could die like tomorrow. He is an old man. He is an old ass man. He could drop dead tomorrow. And he essentially is saying that the guy that he picked to be his replacement is not good enough. Is not fit to be his successor. Like, he did say, oh, he's capable, but the fact that he does not believe that he would be a good successor for the presidency once Trump is dead, which again could very much be in the next 4 years, whether it's one way or another, not calling for political violence, just saying that like Trump could die in the next 4 years, if we're gonna be honest. Like, again, I'm not like saying, oh, he's gonna get like shot or whatever. He's an old man. I believe he is now the oldest president that we've ever had. I believe so. It could still be Joe Biden, but he's close. Again, they're not that far in age, Joe Biden and Trump. In reality, it's just insane to be like, hey, this guy that I picked to be my number two, my replacement, if I die, which could be soon, he's not worthy to be president. Like, even then, again, like, this is just him obviously just picking a yes man. That's the only reason why he picked JD Vance, is because he knows JD Vance would sniff his farts all day long. And it is just sad that JD Vance is just going along with it. I forget what JD said in regards to this. I don't even know if he really commented on this. I mean, I wouldn't. I definitely wouldn't. I wouldn't comment on that, being like, oh, the guy who hired me to be his second in command and his eventual replacement doesn't think that I'm fit to be his replacement. That's embarrassing, dude. Especially when like this falls along the line of JD Vance just being overlooked in favor of people like RFK, who is just like, RFK is a very unique human being in the worst way possible. He really is. Like, when you are being looked over in favor of someone with fucking brain worms, when you are being looked over for a guy who is essentially just a man child who is just like a power hungry maniac in Elon Musk. That has to be embarrassing. That has to be embarrassing. And this isn't the only time. And, you know, hasn't been the only time recently that JD Vance has definitely been cucked in one way or another. Because if you remember, there was a Doge staffer that was fired and then rehired for making racist comments, which is reported on here by NPR. Member of Elon Musk's Doge team resigns after racist posts resurface. He is now back. He's now back with the agency, and the stuff that got him fired was stuff that was like what's being reported here. You could not pay me to marry outside my ethnicity, the account wrote in September. Normalize Indian hate, a separate post from that month read. And what's really sad about this is that as it's reported on here, and as we see here with JD Vance's tweet, he backs the guy up. Now, he is not saying that he's not saying that we should normalize Indian hate. He's just saying oh, I disagree with the guy's post, but I don't think he should have his life ruined from what he posts on social media. And here's the thing. Obviously, you would expect that from a Republican like JD Vance, who obviously doesn't care about hate speech. But what's really sad is that his wife is Indian. He has kids who are half Indian. He is supporting a guy, even though he is saying that he disagrees with his post, he is still siding that a guy who believes that you shouldn't marry outside of your ethnicity and that Indian hate should be normalized should still be able to keep his government job. So it's really obvious that he's even getting cucked. And I think the only reason this is the case is because he's one of Elon Musk's guys. Honestly, I think this is just JD Vance playing ball. And even then, I honestly don't think he would really care that much. He doesn't really have a spine when it comes to anything. I mean, JD Vance was one of the original Republicans back in 2016 who was anti-Trump. He even called Trump Hitler, and he was right. He was fully right. But ever since then, he has walked that back so much to the point where he's obviously just become a yes man for the Trump administration just because he wants power. He does not care about actually being a good politician and helping out his constituents. That's the thing about JD Vance, is that he obviously just wants to be accepted by whoever is in power. Because with his book that he made back in the day, Hillbilly Elegy, it was very much just shitting on a bunch of people that he grew up with. That a bunch of big time city liberals would be oh yeah, that's what those hicks do in the Rust Belt. They're all the same, shit. It was shit that liberals kind of ate up and loved him for. And he loved that attention because those who were kind of it was neoliberalism. Those were who was kind of in power at the time. It was very much Obama-esque Democrats. But then Trump came along and kind of shaked everything up, to the point where JD Vance, even though he was against him at the time, eventually just had to follow suit, fall into line, and walk back a lot of the stuff that he said about Trump early on. So he's just really the biggest cuck in government right now. And it's kind of pathetic, but also fun to watch at the same time. It's fun how pathetic he is. And it's really the only source of joy I feel we get with what Trump and the Republican Party has been doing recently is anytime they do again this whole interview that was brought up where Trump said that JD Vance was not fit to be his successor. There was plenty more to it which it was just insanity, but we're not even gonna get into that. But I just wanted to talk about something that at least sprinkles some fun into the obscene situation we're currently in. And what's more fun than just making fun of JD Vance? That's all I really gotta say on that.